Welcome back to Wisdom Unveiled. Today we're diving deep again. This is episode 32 of our 40-part exploration. And our focus, the really profound insights of the 12th century Persian poet and mystic Attar. We're going to be looking at his, well, quite radical ideas on human nature, self-knowledge, and this really challenging concept he calls the mountain of ego.
Yes, and for this, we're drawing on those fascinating conversations between the Iranian philosophers Dr. Ibrahim Dinani and Dr. Esmail Manzouri Larijani from their Marifat recordings. Really rich material.
Absolutely. And just before we jump in, a quick but, important note for you listening. This is a translation. It's a reproduction of talks originally in Farsi. So, as you can imagine, especially with poetry, with mysticism, some nuances, some details, they might not come across perfectly. We apologize if there are any discrepancies, but we hope you'll join us on this journey knowing that. Okay, so let's get into it. Our journey today starts with Attar's Musibatnama, his book of affliction. It charts the spiritual seeker's path, and today specifically, we're looking at the seeker talking to a mountain. Now, Attar's seeker, the Salike Fikrat, is this figure of just relentless curiosity. We've seen them before, talking with the sea, the earth, angels, even prophets. But a mountain, how does someone even will talk to a mountain?
That's a really fundamental question, isn't it? What kind of language are we talking about here? How can you converse with, well, everything? Inanimate objects, plants, animals, higher beings? It's definitely not the language of Qual, conventional speech like English or Farsi.
Okay, so not Qual, what is it then?
Attar calls it the language of Hal, H-A-L. It means the language of state or being. It's a language that awareness itself understands. It sort of transcends time and place.
The language of how. So what does that actually imply about us, about humans?
Well, it points to something really unique about human consciousness, this ability to put oneself in another's place. To make a state, the Farsi, is jale hal. Think about it. No other creature really does this. A mountain can't decide to be the sea, or vice versa. But a human, we can imagine being the mountain. We can speak from its perspective, tap into its state. It's quite profound.
Wow, okay. Jalehao, making a state. So with this ability, the seeker approaches the mountain, calls it a jewel grower, right? Covered in rubies, garnets, but also notes its height, saying it's raised its head from pride. That's quite a mix.
It is, and what's fascinating is how Attar weaves in Quranic references here, adding layers. The seeker calls the mountain the anchor of the earth. That echoes the verse, Wajabal Atada, mountains as pegs, providing stability.
Right. The stabilizing pegs.
Yes. But then, almost in the same breath, the seeker observes its stillness and asks, you think you are still, but you move like clouds. And that links directly to another Quranic verse. And you see the mountains, you think them firmly fixed, while they pass by as the passing of clouds.
Moving like clouds, even though they seem so solid.
Exactly. It hints at this philosophical concept, harakat ejawari, substantial motion. The idea that even things that look stationary are undergoing a kind of deep intrinsic change. They're not static.
So the mountain is strong, stable, holds treasures, but it's also prideful and in constant unseen motion. That's a lot packed into one image.
Okay, but then the mountain replies, and this is where it gets really interesting, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The mountain laments. It says, essentially, everything you said is true, but you have no idea what a bloody heart I have.
A bloody heart. A mountain.
Yes. And it references the Quran, again, the command of Prophet David, O mountains, echo God's praises with him. It suggests this need for harmony, for companionship, even for a mountain.
Why bring Prophet David into it specifically? Well, it highlights David's incredible spiritual power. Remember how iron supposedly softened for him? The idea is that even the mountains were brought into harmony, into resonance with his spiritual state. But the mountain also talks about its suffering being moved, quarried, chipped away, and those beautiful jewels, the rubies and garnets. It says they're the fruit of its bleeding heart, born from pain.
Wow. So it's saying that even the strongest things, the most seemingly solid parts of creation, have their own struggles, their own pain.
Precisely. It shows that, suffering isn't just a human thing. Everything has its own inner reality, its own heartache. The mountain, despite its strength and riches, it feels pain.
The seeker is obviously moved by this, and then seeks guidance from a peer, a wise elder. What does the peer make of all this?
The peer offers the crucial interpretation. He says, look, these external things about the mountain, its solidity, height, its movement, they aren't just literal. They're metaphors for the human inner state. And this brings us to the core concept, the mountain of Ananiyat, the mountain of ego.
The mountain of ego. Okay, let's unpack that. This is an inner mountain inside us.
Exactly. It represents our ignorance, our spiritual Hardness, our arrogance. Think about that Quranic verse. Then your heart's hardened after that, being like stones or even harder, 2.74. I mean, imagine Pharaoh's ego. That's a mountain far harder than Everest, wouldn't you say?
Harder than stone.
Yes. Because physical mountains, you can break them. Water can even flow from stone, the Quran tells us. But a truly hardened heart, one filled with this kind of ego, Attar might point to figures like Satan or Yazid. It's almost impenetrable. Logic, advice, it just bounces off. It seems only divine grace, some kind of profound manifestation, can actually break that kind of ego.
Which raises that paradox you mentioned earlier. If we can be like mountains in our ego, how can we also be like water in softness? How can we be both?
And that duality, that's the human condition, according to Attar. We contain both extremes.
So he's really doing a kind of human anthropology here through these dialogues. Harder than stone, yet softer than water or silk. How does he explain this?
He points to something unique about us physically, something that distinguishes us. The human hand. Animals have claws, hooves, paws. Humans have hands.
The hand. What's the significance there? It seems, well, less powerful than claws in some ways.
Physically, maybe, but think about what the hand does. It builds, it creates, it shapes our entire world. All technology, all civilization comes through the hand. And Attar connects this to the divine. God is described with attributes all-hearing, all-seeing, all-powerful, and also as having hands, yad Allah.
Not literal hands, obviously.
No, it's a manifestation of divine power, creativity, presence. It embodies both majesty and beauty, Jalal and Jamal. So humans, by having these creative hands, become a kind of reflection, a manifestation of God's attributes. We reflect that divine creative power, but of course that same hand can build the mountain of ego.
And you mentioned Rumi was influenced by Attar. He had that line, didn't he, about the world being a mountain and our actions echoing back.
Yes. This world is like a mountain, and our actions are like calls. The echo returns to us. It's like the law of action and reaction, isn't it? Everything we do, say, think, ultimately comes back to us. So these dialogues with nature that Attar crafts, they're really lessons about us, about human potential, human challenges, and the consequences of our actions. The echo always returns.
So given this powerful metaphor, the mountain of ego, the echoing actions, what's Attar's ultimate guidance? What are we supposed to do about this inner mountain?
The message is unequivocal. The mountain of ego, the Jabal, Ananiyat, it must be broken. If that mountain stands tall within us, there's no real spiritual path, no salvation. It blocks everything. He sees it as the root of corruption, self-centeredness, basically all the suffering we see individually and collectively. An unbroken ego leads to tyranny, discord, inner conflict.
But if it's harder than stone, and logic doesn't work, how? How do you break it? Is it just about trying harder?
Attar suggests it's not really about willpower alone. It takes something more profound. Only divine grace, a divine manifestation, can truly shatter that hardened ego. That's why in mysticism, a broken heart, a qalb munkasir, is seen as incredibly valuable, more valuable than anything whole and rigid.
A broken heart is valuable.
Because when that mountain of ego is shattered, its power is gone. The true self, the receptive self, can emerge. Then the water of divine mercy, wisdom, compassion, it can finally flow freely. That brings peace, clarity, purpose. But the higher that ego mountain is built, the more destructive its eventual collapse, or the more damage it does if it never breaks.
And maybe that connects to the Quranic verse. Indeed, God is with those whose hearts are broken. It's about that state of receptivity after the ego breaks down.
Exactly. It's that openness, that humility that allows for connection.
Wow. What an incredible arc. From the seeker talking to a literal mountain, to understanding that mountain is our own ego, and then the significance of the human hand reflecting divine creativity.
Right.
It really reframes how we see ourselves.
It absolutely does. And the core takeaway seems to be that true understanding, true liberation, comes from confronting and breaking down that inner mountain, recognizing, that yes, we can be incredibly hard, but we also have this amazing capacity for softness, for connection, for compassion. It's about cultivating that inner certainty, that yakin, which changes how we see everything, life, challenges, even death.
So, thinking about you, listening right now, what does this mean? What mountains might still be there inside you, perhaps ones you aren't even fully aware of? Attar's wisdom, it feels less like ancient history and more like a direct challenge, doesn't it? A call to look within, to find the truth, and to maybe start chipping away at whatever blocks your own inner light. What if real prosperity, real contentment isn't about getting more stuff, but about dismantling those ego walls so that wisdom and grace can actually flow in?
That's definitely a powerful thought to sit with, something for you to mull over, explore in your own experience.
Indeed it is. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Wisdom Unveiled. We hope you'll continue to explore these amazing ideas and keep unveiling the wisdom in your own life. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep growing.